Hello and welcome to Stories That Shape Us. My name is Joanna Daniel. So today I'm talking about relationships. I don't think I talk about relationships on this podcast too often, or only from a perspective of abuse, domestic abuse, understanding abuse, and those kind of dynamics in relationships. And today I shared a post from one I shared I think it was 2016, I first shared this post and I saw it and it just triggered a process of thought for me. And I felt like I wanted to come on the podcast and talk about it. So the number one reason some relationships fail. This post was about some of the things that are necessary for safe relationships, and one of them was truth. And as I reflected on it, I realized that truth, not telling the truth, is the number one reason a lot of relationships fail. The truth. And people sometimes refuse to tell the truth because they're afraid, and fear can lead us to do many things. Not fear in terms of only in terms of fear of your safety, where there's an abusive relationship, whether it's physical or whether it's emotional, financial, sexual, but fear in terms of the what ifs. So I want to talk about that kind of fear, the what ifs. What if I'm honest? If I'm honest, what if they leave? What if they no longer love me or want me or want to spend time with me or be with me? And this is true. This is true for many relationships, not just romantic relationships. It can be true for work, but let's keep it in the context of romantic relationships. What if I tell the truth, not just speak the truth? What if I say how I really feel? The truth can be what I need to survive in this relationship. These are the things that are important to me. These are the things that I need. And these are the things that are non negotiable for me. Sometimes when we are away in the relationship, we feel like we can't tell the truth about those things because we feel sometimes what if I rock the boat? Or what if I don't get what I want? What if I tell the truth about how I feel, about what my needs are, and my needs aren't met? What will happen then? And sometimes we do a lot of mind reading, and we do a lot of mind reading and just generalizing, and there's a lot of surmising that will happen, presuming. If I tell the truth, if I say how I feel, and if I ask for what I need, I give an ultimatum, I put a boundary in place, and it's not met, what I'm going to be forced to make a decision that I don't want to make. And so there's a lot of reading into the future that we don't know, that's not accessible and available to us. And so lots of people they feel, to live life without their needs being met. And then the relationship just starts to crumble from other parts because there's this center that is really crucially important, and it's not being maintained, it's not looked after, and it starts to crumble from the inside out because it's not sustainable for us to believe that we can live and our needs are not met. Our emotional needs have to be met. And of course, no one person can meet for all of our needs. We do some, but the people that are in our lives in those capacities really need to learn and work at how. So if this is a truth that you're not telling because you feel like, I can live without it being met, that's not telling yourself the truth. And that's not telling the truth in the relationship. And the relationship won't survive without truth. It needs truth. And sometimes people feel if I tell the truth, we're going to have conflict. We're going to argue. No, you don't. You don't have to argue to tell the truth. You don't have to argue to say, this is how I feel. I don't feel this way about what you've said. This is how I feel today. This is how I feel right now. This is how I feel about that decision. I don't agree with it. We don't feel, we do a lot of, as I say, mind reading, and we assume that if we tell the truth, then they're going to be gone. And so that's the number one reason some relationships fail, because relationships survive on truth. Healthy relationships, let me say, survive on truth. So if you want a relationship to be healthy and have a chance of surviving, start by introducing some truth. Now, the truth might be hard. might not be easy to live with. The truth might not be easy to own, when each person have to own what is true for them that is impacting the next person, or what is true for them that needs to be changed so that the relationship can move forward. Not everybody has the emotional capacity, the availability, the emotional intelligence to be able to accept that and to be able to sit with that and own that and go, yeah, I'm going to take responsibility for this and I'm working on it. So not everybody has that capacity, but once again, and I like to say, so you know now what you're working with. But if you do the what ifs, and what if will never tell you the other side of it. Well, what if you share your needs? What if you tell the truth and it's received well and things work out? It never tells you that. It kind of just tells you, what if it doesn't? What if they become so angry and irate, and things go pear-shaped and the relationship fail? And so sometimes not telling the truth is a way of saying, I don't want this relationship to fail, and so I'm going to ignore how I feel, I'm going to ignore what I need, and I'm just going to try and plod on. That is not sustainable again. So telling the truth in your relationship is important. So you might want to start by telling the truth to yourself. What's the truth that you would want to express? Be comfortable with it for yourself. So get a journal. I like to suggest journals. Get a journal, get your pen, and tell yourself that truth. What's the truth that you have to own for yourself and become comfortable with before you can share? If you're not into journaling and you're not a writer, you feel, then speak it to your phone. What is the truth that I know lives at the edge of my consciousness, but I don't allow it to come into my conscious mind? Every time it attempts to come into my conscious mind and I feel the sense of dissatisfaction running down my spine, I push it back as far as I can and allow myself to ignore the discomfort and try to bend myself into what might be acceptable and move on. But it doesn't last long, because the next week it comes again. It's bubbling to the surface again, and it comes when you least expect it. That feeling of dissatisfaction comes when you least expect it, and you again you feel it running up your spine, and you push it down and try to do something that you think is going to soothe it. But now, when it used to come every month or every 3 months, it's now coming weekly. And before you know it, it's coming every day, when you're that sense of dissatisfaction because you can't ignore your needs. And so sit with that truth. What is it that is coming, that is bubbling up your spine and wanting to come into your conscious mind? What do you need to sit with for you? You need to get comfortable with it for yourself first. What is it that I need? What truth is it that I need to express that I haven't, that I've been afraid of expressing? What do I need to tell myself and become comfortable with? So make a note of that. Become comfortable with it yourself. Start to meet it for yourself, because that is empowering. Because when you start to do it for yourself, then it gives you the courage, the sense of peace to express it to the person in your life, so that you can begin to ask. So become comfortable with it yourself. Practice asking for what you need, and maybe you might get support in asking for what you need and making it non-negotiable. Now, in a relationship where truth is uncommon, it might be difficult and challenging for the next person to hear it and to know how to act and what to do. So some grace might be needed to be extended, but you can determine how much grace that you'll extend and for how long. That's, you're within your rights to do that. Also, be prepared for other people's truth, because the next person might have some truth that might be ouch for you. But remember that you're learning, you're growing, you're just becoming aware of yours, and you're practicing to bring truth into the space so your relationship can be healthy. So I want to encourage you, if truth is not something that is common in your relationship, what you need, how you feel, what your thoughts are, and other truth that is necessary for the survival and health of your relationship and yourself, Then I want to encourage you to, if you can't do it alone, to get support, would learn how to say, these are my truths. How do I express them? How do I express these truths in a way that is going to be honoring to me, honoring to our relationship? But I want to learn how to express my truth so that I can have a healthy relationship, because right now I'm not participating how I want to, because there's this big part of me that is not seeing these needs that are not met, and I don't think I can stay in the space any longer without these things happening, because they're important to me. I hope that you'll be able to do that, that the space will be able to contain it, and that your relationships can thrive and become healthy, happy places. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Stories That Shape Us. I hope you'll join me on the next story.